Hey, what is going on, guys? This is the SS Ultimate Goku back with another video. And, so today I'm going to be talking about this whole discussion and myth about Roman Reigns and John Cena, about how they are, this is a debate between which one of them is the GOAT, John Cena or Roman Reigns. And I'm here to make a video to telling you that neither one of them are the GOATs. Okay. So here's the thing. Everything is subjective when it comes to wrestling. Just like how everything when it comes to sports on who people think is the greatest of all time. You know, people debate Johnny Unitas, people debate, they compare Johnny Unitas to Tom Brady of today, and now Patrick Mahomes, and whatnot. You can even go back to Otto Graham, really. But point being is that whole discussion transcends when it comes to wrestling, that transcends when it comes to other sports and whatnot. But when it comes to wrestling, obviously wrestling is predetermined. We all know that, okay? So the criteria has to be a little different on who the GOAT is, because obviously there's a lot of components, because obviously, again, wrestling is predetermined. They know who's going to win, they know who's going to lose, so there has to be more components when it comes to who's the GOAT, besides how many title reigns people have had when they're world champion, how long they've been world champion, how many WrestleManias have they main evented. There's a lot of things that go into it. I personally think the best criteria is how much have you been able to sell, how much have you been able to, like in merch and, drawing power and whatnot. Those are probably the best criteria when it comes to, who is the GOAT. Now, the discussion is between John Cena and Roman Reigns. I have no idea why, but I think it is a crazy and not a very good argument and candidates. So, John Cena and Roman Reigns, okay, both have been controversial top stars, okay? Which I hope will never happen again under the Triple H administration and future administrations that come after that, if Triple H is ever gone, I don't know how long Triple H plans to being the guy now as head of creative, but, assuming, he does this for like 20 years, I'm sure he's not going to do it as long as Vince, but, whatever, it really doesn't matter to me. It really doesn't matter to me who it is right now. Hopefully, we never see another John Cena, another Roman Reigns booking. And I'm not talking about them as people. I'm talking about them as, like, booking wise. Because the way these two have been booked was atrocious, okay? John Cena is a slightly better in booking than Roman, because John wasn't originally coined to being the face of the company. He earned that. But still, nonetheless, there's a lot of issues with John Cena as well. So I am going to start with John Cena, actually, because Roman Reigns is a much easier one to explain why he's not the GOAT, and I don't know why people want to still try to debate this point. So I'm going to do a little more challenging takes on John Cena, because I think John Cena has a much harder debate than Roman does, in my opinion. So, John Cena, obviously, 15-time world champion, multiple main events, obviously he's done great charity work, the Make-A-Wish Foundation, a lot of good things John Cena does. As a person, John Cena is a great person. Okay, nobody can debate that. John Cena is always there. He's been caring for a lot of people within the fans and stuff like that. He's truly a company guy, and you can't take away from that. You have to respect him. And like I said, I don't really like John Cena as a wrestler, but I respect him, as a person, and I respect what he did, and what he does do still to this day, especially now going into Hollywood. So I just want to say that right now, John Cena is tremendous for what he does and what he represents. That being said, what I'll say about John Cena and why he's not the GOAT is strictly because of him as a character is a corporate sellout. And what do I mean by that? So, John Cena, what he got, okay, so when he became John Cena, and what I mean by him becoming John Cena, I am talking about him as the Dr. Thugonomics, okay? The rapper character, okay? The rapper character was a character that pretty much saved his career. Because before that, he was really doing nothing. He was just kind of whatever. John Cena, whatever character. Okay? That is basically what he was. He had no character, really. He was just a guy that was just like walking around, shaking Undertaker's hands, saying, he did the ruthless aggression thing, but that was it. He, punched Kurt Angle, didn't win that match, but showed that he had ruthless aggression. But then what happened after that? What happened after that debut with John Cena, Kurt Angle? He got respect from the Undertaker, and then that was it. It was kind of whatever. He was whatever type John Cena. Okay, it wasn't until he did the Dr. Thugonomics character, the rapper character, that pretty much not only, he's even said this, saved his career, but pretty much launched him to what he became. Now, I'm going to be completely honest with you. I was not a fan of the Dr. Thugonomics character. I didn't really enjoy it. I was a teenager at the time when they started doing the character. Or I think it was close to I don't know. I think it may have been 12 actually, so I wasn't a teenager yet. But point being is, whatever how old I was at the time, Cena as a rapper, I didn't relate to it because it was not my stuff. I really wasn't into the whole rapping thing and whatnot. Was not into that type of stuff. And I looked at John Cena and I viewed him as like a, kind of an Eminem. He was kind of ripping off Eminem in a way, because, he's doing the whole rapping thing. But that's what I looked at John Cena as when I was a kid, okay? He was just whatever. He's just trying to be the Eminem of wrestling. And that's what I looked at it as. So I was never into him as a character. I didn't like him. Didn't like him when he won the title. Didn't like him when he beat Big Show for the title. That's how far back it was. Like, I remember when he beat Big Show at WrestleMania 20, I was so upset about it. I was like, how can you let him beat? How can you? Because I also really liked the Big Show, by the way. I'm not gonna lie about that. I really liked it. I was hoping Big Show was gonna win at WrestleMania 20. Okay, not WrestleMania 20. WrestleMania 16, WrestleMania 2000. That's how far back. I really liked the Big Show when I was younger. I really liked the Big Show. Like, I was hoping he was gonna win that main event at WrestleMania 2000. So I was all for him beating John Cena at WrestleMania 20. And then he didn't do it. And I was like, no. And he also cheated in that match, too, by the way. He cheated in that. So, he used brass knucks, for anybody who doesn't remember. So, yeah, I didn't like that at all. But point being is, getting to the corporate sellout point, when John Cena won that WWE Championship from JBL, okay, the whole classic JBL, being the corporate guy that he was as champion, and John Cena was this, common, guy that, he had the rapping thug thing going on, that most fans connected to at that time. And he did that. He won the title. He unfortunately turned the title into a terrible monstrosity that we had to deal with for like the next 12 years by getting rid of the undisputed title for that stupid spinner title. But beyond that crap, John Cena, once the PG era started, even before the PG era started, he slowly started turning into more of, a corporate sellout. He was no longer wearing jerseys of, like, he used to come out with jerseys of, like, cities that they were in and whatnot. He always tried to appeal to the local cities that they were in or states that they were in, and trying to, show off the stuff. He used to rap all the time, which people loved at that time. It was the FU, not the AA, it was the FU, and his submission finishing move was called the STFU. It was not the STF. Okay? And once they went to the PG era, they changed the finishing moves from the FU to the AA, the attitude adjustment, instead of being the FU, which we all know what FU stands for. And the submission finishing move used to be called the STFU, which they changed that as well, too, to the STF. Now, to be fair with the STF, that actually was the original, what the original move was called, was the STF. They changed it to the STFU because it fits Cena's character at the time, but then they changed it back to the STF. But with the John Cena's original finishing move, which was originally called the FU, and that was what it originally was called, they changed it to the attitude adjustment, the AA, when they switched to the PG era. This, to me, I always viewed as a corporate sellout, because once he got to the top, he started changing his character to what people actually wanted him to be. Like, this was not the John Cena that the fans cheered for when they wanted him to win the title. When he turned into the C Nation character that he became, that was not the John Cena that the fans related to. They related to the Chain Gang. That was the character that they wanted. And I don't think they needed to change that character, even if going into the PG era. They did not need to totally overhaul that character the way they overhauled John Cena's character. And that's how I view John Cena as a corporate sellout. He was not a guy that really committed to the character that made him what he was. He didn't. Could you just imagine, like, Bret Hart, becoming WWE champion, and then all of a sudden just, like, not wearing the pink anymore, not wearing the pink and black anymore? Like, that character, like, that's what Cena did. Cena totally overhauled his character while he was on top, and made himself into some irrelevant character that people did not relate to. And this is why a lot of people continue to hate him even more as the years got on. And I know people were booing him still when he was the Chain Gang. Like, they started booing him when he was the Chain Gang with Triple H, WrestleMania 22. But them overhauling his character the way they didn't make things better. Okay, it didn't make things better. Especially since he had the same theme song for the rest of his career, which was his own thing of him rapping. You know what I'm saying? So, to me, John Cena was not the GOAT, okay, and never was, okay? He was a guy who took his character, totally overhauled it, and I would view him as a corporate sellout. Okay? And yes, again, Cena wrestling-wise, didn't do that much for me either. Obviously, when it comes to the wrestling, he was like one-dimensional, 5 moves. And it is kind of sad because John Cena actually can wrestle. It's like the same thing with Hulk Hogan. Okay, a lot of people have come with this whole myth over the years that Hulk Hogan doesn't know how to actually wrestle. That's not true. If you watch any of his Japan matches, he actually can wrestle. Like, he actually can do moves, like, more than what he did in WWE for the majority of his career. This is the whole thing, is John Cena when he went up against the right opponent, he actually did try to wrestle better. When he wrestled CM Punk, Money in the Bank, that was the only match that con artist Dave Meltzer decided to give him a 5-star rating. Not even his Shawn Michaels and not even the Shawn Michaels and John Cena WrestleMania 23 match did con artist Dave Meltzer give 5 stars to. Which that match was just as good as CM Punk versus John Cena, by the way. And you guys know I'm a huge CM Punk fan, but even I have to admit the Shawn Michaels and John Cena match was right up there with CM Punk and John Cena. If there was anything close, I mean, obviously, I still think Punk and Cena Money in the Bank 2011, I do think was still John Cena's best match, but a close, very close second would be his match at WrestleMania 23 with Shawn Michaels. And that match definitely deserved a 5-star rating. But that's my point. Is like Cena was never really that marquee. Well, he was the marquee. I mean, what I mean by that is he was never truly the character that made him what he was. Like, he took his character, it saved his job, saved his career, and then eventually elevated him to the world title or the WWE Championship, and then after that, he kind of ditched it. And, kind of, in a way, betrayed the fans, and this is why I say he was a corporate sellout. Okay? Now, I move over to Roman Reigns, okay? Now, with Roman Reigns, of why he was never the GOAT, okay, and never will be, it's simple. He was basically coronated the moment he stepped into WWE. I don't know if it was exactly the moment he stepped into WWE, but at some point when he was in that WWE NXT or FCW, I think he started with FCW before it went into NXT. I'm not exactly sure, but point being is the moment he went into that developmental camp, Vince McMahon was enamored with this guy. He wanted him to be the guy, and it was just a matter of getting him over. He wanted him to be the next guy, like right away. John Cena, the one thing I could say about John Cena in this debate is, even though this is not a debate, and I know John Cena had said that Roman is the GOAT, but John Cena's getting paid to say that, by the way. So he's going to say whatever the narrative is. So I don't really take any stock in that anyways. But the moment Roman got into that building, Vince McMahon immediately wanted him to be the guy. Okay? It was just a matter of development and getting him to that point. So, Roman Reigns was always booed. He was booed the moment he left the Shield. When he was doing his own thing as a single star, people started booing him. Now, a lot of people want to point out the infamous CM Punk Colt Cabana podcast as the reason why Roman Reigns got booed right away. But even though, yes, the interview, I believe, happened in October of 2014. This was several months after he had left WWE. He left WWE in January of 2014, end of January after the Royal Rumble match. A lot of people would cite that when he did this, because obviously that next year in 2015, January, the next Royal Rumble, Roman Reigns won that Royal Rumble match, as we all know. That a lot of people believe that CM Punk saying what he said is what led to the booings, so to speak, of Roman Reigns. And this is why so many people booed him to this day. Well, until, of course, he became the tribal chief. But this is why people believe that this is what happened. But the fact of the matter is Roman started getting booed even before that. Now, Did Punk help matters or made matters worse by saying what he said? You know, you got to make him look really strong. You know, at that TLC pay-per-view back in, I think it was 2013. You know, you got to make him look real strong. You know, that whole thing that CM Punk said probably did contribute a lot to why Roman was booed. But the fact of the matter is I think fans, especially the not the casuals, the smarter fans, that understand the psychology of wrestling, they would have figured it out. They figured it out with John Cena when they started booking him like Hogan. Okay? People would have eventually figured it out. Okay? You know, fans are not stupid. They know what's going on. Okay? You know, WWE can't control that narrative anymore. And Vince learned that the hard way, or had to learn that the hard way. So, because, like, it's like Cody Rhodes said, like, last year. Cody Rhodes last year said that it took Roman Reigns 8 years to get over. And he's right. In that promo, he was right. Roman, the first, like, several WrestleMania main events that he was in, okay, because I know they said, oh, he broke Hulk Hogan's record because he was in the 2-night main event at 40, okay? I think there should be an asterisk out of those main events because Vince McMahon force-fed those main events, despite the fact that people wanted somebody else to be in that spot, and they refused to do it because Vince McMahon was thick-scalded about it. He was thick-scalded about the whole thing. So because of that, Roman Reigns got to be in the main events for all these WrestleManias. Now, again, the past, you know, since I think 37, when he's been main eventing his WrestleMania as the Tribal Chief, yes, those Manias, obviously he did his thing. He did his thing. He was a heel. He finally embraced the heel character of being a Tribal Chief instead of being the big dog babyface that everybody booed, okay? I mean, even when he came back from cancer, people booed him. Obviously, people cheered him when he announced, that he had unfortunately cancer. But when he came back to WWE, after he, thankfully, recovered from the concussion, or not concussion, what the fuck am I saying? From the cancer, as quickly as he did, once he came back and started being an active wrestler again, people started booing him again. He was not somebody that could ever work as a babyface. The big dog character was far worse than John Cena's Let's Go Cena, Cena Sucks thing. Okay? Because he was booed. He was booed. Obviously the thing with WrestleMania 31, you had him and Brock, and then of course Seth inserted himself into it because they knew it wasn't time for Roman. Then you had the one with Triple H. I think that was the next year's one, right? You had the one with Triple H. That didn't work out. Yeah, then had the one... 33, I think, was Undertaker. Then you had the one with 34 with Brock again. Couldn't do that with that one. There's so many, or there's 35, whatever, get the point. Like, all these main event WrestleManias, and also the one with Undertaker, which obviously that was more of Undertaker just not being in shape enough to do it anymore, but, you get the point. All these main events that he was doing, nobody wanted to cheer for him. He was supposed to be a babyface, and nobody wanted to cheer for him. Okay, and so I think there should be an asterisk to a lot of these WrestleMania main events he had, because he shouldn't have been in those spots. Okay, this was Vince McMahon just forcing something that the fans did not want. Okay? And because of that, I don't think you can call him the GOAT. Just because he had the title for 1,000 days does not mean that we can ignore the stuff he did before when people didn't like it. Okay? We can't ignore that. He should have been doing the Tribal Chief thing from the beginning. If he had been doing if he had embraced the heel, like if WWE had embraced the heel whole thing, the fans booing him, if they had embraced that early on and they turned him heel, like let's say they turned him heel after WrestleMania 31, like the first WrestleMania main event, where he, Seth still cashes in, Seth Rollins still cashes in, wins the title, right? But then after that, Roman Reigns embraces being a heel, like not too long after that whole thing happens, you turn him heel. If they had done that, I think our perspective on Roman Reigns would be much different right now. If they had embraced the heel turn, because look what it did to The Rock. The Rock, people hated The Rock when he was first coming out. People forget about this. Like they used to say Rocky suck, or Rocky died. They used to say Rocky dies. Like when he was Rocky Maivia, like they literally used to say this in the Attitude Era. Go back it up when he was a mid-carder. But WWE realized that the whole babyface thing wasn't working for The Rock, so they turned him heel. They put him on the Nation of Domination faction, and then the rest is history. He got over, and he became the People's Champion and whatnot. I think our perspective on Roman would be different if he had done that early on, but Vince McMahon was too thick-skulled and refused to do it. And it was a disservice to Roman Reigns. And it was disservice to the fans. It was disservice to all the other people at that time that were ready to be in that main event. But were refused to. But were refused because Vince McMahon had to have it his way. And had to force-fed Roman Reigns as this new top babyface. So because of that, but that's the thing though. I can't ignore that. And I don't think fans should ignore that. I can't ignore the first half of his championship career, of being booked as badly as he was booked, and be like, oh yeah, he's the GOAT. No, he's not. He's not the GOAT. You cannot ignore that. And hopefully we'll never have to see this for another wrestler again. Because I hope that if Triple H, wants to anoint, the next top babyface or whatever, which I think is going to be Cody Rhodes anyways at this point, at least for right now. But whenever they do go to the next, babyface, like in 5-6 years from now, like Braun Breaker or something like that, I hope that we don't have to deal with this shit again. Where, which I don't think we will. I don't think Triple H is going to do the same shit Vince McMahon did. Where it's like, if he handpicks somebody to be the next top babyface, he's going to force feed them to the audience. He's not going to do that. So I hope we don't have to see this shit ever again happen. But this is the problem with, this is the problem that WWE endured during this time period with John Cena and Roman Reigns. And again, both different things. John Cena did get over on his own with his own gimmick, so he wasn't always promised to be the guy. As a matter of fact, he was never promised to be the guy. Cena kind of earned that with the rapper gimmick, but then of course sold out after the fact, But Roman didn't really earn that. He was just kind of given it by Vince, but at the same time, the fans rejected it. So because of that, I can't give neither one of these guys the GOAT status. The fact of the matter is, you guys want to know who the real GOAT is? It's Stone Cold Steve Austin. Okay? Stone Cold Steve Austin is the real GOAT. You want to know why Stone Cold Steve Austin is the real GOAT? Even though he didn't have as many title reigns, even though he didn't have the longevity as John Cena and Roman, the fact of the matter is, without Stone Cold Steve Austin, neither one of these two people are where they're at. Stone Cold Steve Austin is the guy. He is still beloved to this day. Anytime when he makes an appearance, he gets cheered. Okay? Still to this day, he gets cheered. Okay? I mean, his what chant, you guys hear the what always? That's from Stone Cold Steve Austin. That was something that he put into his character in 2001. That was something that he came up with. Alright? And even though Stone Cold Steve Austin has been long retired, He's been retired officially since 2003. Okay, he did come back for the one match a couple of years ago, but he's been retired since 2003. Okay, to this day, you will see people in the audience do the what chant, okay, to heel wrestlers. You will see them do that. Okay, that is Stone Cold Steve Austin's thing, and yet people are still doing it even though Stone Cold Steve Austin isn't in the damn building. Okay, that tells you GOAT status right there. If people are still using references for things that aren't related to you as the character that came up with it, then that means you're the GOAT. Okay, Stone Cold Steve Austin is the GOAT. He may have only been the champion like 6 times. He may have not main evented WrestleMania as many times as Roman and Cena because of his injuries. Obviously, he was forced to retire early. Okay. He still is memorized by the fans to this day. He is still looked upon as the bench, the benchmark. He is still the benchmark to everybody else. All-time merch sales. Still to this day when it comes to merch, I mean, during that time period of the Attitude Era, he was doing things that Hogan could never dream of doing. Okay? That's what Stone Cold Steve Austin was doing. And, just this recent WrestleMania where he didn't show up at WrestleMania 40, everybody's still upset that he did not show up for WrestleMania 40 because that's how much people love Stone Cold Steve Austin. He is the real GOAT. All right, he's the real GOAT. I mean, that's just the fact of the matter. I don't even care if he's your favorite or not like that. Austin is the GOAT. He is the GOAT. Okay? Without him, these guys aren't around because you want to know what? He's the sole reason why Vince McMahon won the Monday Night War against WCW. WCW had Ted Turner as the boss, all right? Ted Turner was the boss of he was the owner of WCW. Okay, he obviously had Eric Bischoff running the operation, but he was the boss. He was paying the salaries for those WCW wrestlers. If Ted Turner could have gotten Stone Cold Steve Austin, WWE's probably not around right now. Okay, Ted Turner had money. Okay, obviously there was the AOL buyout, which ultimately screwed WCW, but by that point WCW had been losing a shit ton of money by 2000. Okay. If he had Stone Cold in the Attitude Era, man, WCW might still be in business, okay? Stone Cold Steve Austin was that popular, okay? And John Cena and Roman Reigns can't hold a candle to the toughest SOB in WWE history, and that's Stone Cold Steve Austin, and that's the bottom line, because Stone Cold said so. And that's what I gotta say. I'm the SS Ultimate Goku. Comment, rate, like this video about it. Please subscribe. That's about it. I'm the SS Ultimate Goku Moderate. Peace. Also, make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel, follow the Twitch, follow the Instagram. Also, I do have a Discord link in the description where we talk about various topics like this wrestling, anime, dubs, and NFL football, all that good stuff. So make sure to check out. Now I'm out. Peace.